Pentagon and Defense. It says U.S. military personnel deployed along the southern border are now authorized to conduct patrols in Stryker armored vehicles, marking a significant shift in the role of troops supporting customs and border protection operations. These are soldiers, troops of the U.S. military, working alongside Border Patrol. Now note this change, announced by U.S. Northern Command, NORTHCOM, of the U.S. military, aims to bolster, quote, enhanced detection and monitoring efforts as illegal border crossings and smuggling activity continue to challenge national security. It notes this authorization now allows service members to move beyond stationary security positions and utilize tactical military vehicles, including Strykers, for patrol operations in designated border zones. It notes these patrols can involve transporting CBP agents through difficult or remote terrain. They have good off-road capability, to say the least, we can say, increasing both reach and responsiveness in vulnerable areas. Stryker vehicles, known for their versatility and speed, are 8-wheeled armored carriers capable of transporting up to 11 personnel and reaching top speeds of 60 miles per hour. Certain variants of Strykers include remote weapon systems, meaning you don't have to have a physical gunner on it, you can remote control it, such as a 50 caliber machine gun or a MK-19 grenade launcher, enhancing the utility in a variety of operational scenarios. Now, in context of this, remember why that might be necessary. The big, easy one is a lot of the terrain that you have to patrol for Border Patrol, it's not with roads. Like, there's a lot of areas that do not have roads built. You have to go in very rough terrain. You have to go off-road a lot. And normal off-road vehicles, even like quads or whatever else they have, buggies, they're not really set up for that kind of off-roading. And at the very least, they're not really set up to carry additional people if they carry out arrests. You could say, yeah, they have off-road vehicles. They have Jeeps and stuff like that. But if they make arrests of a group of illegal aliens, let's say there's 5 of them, I don't know if any of you go off-roading, but a lot of them don't have a lot of seating, especially if you're on a quad, you're probably not going to be able to arrest anyone. And what does that mean? The CBP officer has to sit there with them and wait for backup to arrive, and backup might have to go through very rough terrain as well. Maybe they can't even reach it. And so it's a logistics issue. If they use these off-road armored vehicles, they can seat up to 11 people. Very likely they can hold, maybe eight people who are being arrested or something like that, which does extend their capability by a lot. The other side of it is cartels have put out hits, right, kill-on-sight things for some U.S. agents. There have actually been shootings and killings of U.S. agents. There are also rumors of them putting in like mines, explosive devices. They do IEDs. In fact, they even learned to build a lot of those through Hezbollah, which operates very heavily in Tijuana, by the way. And so when it comes to these groups, right, basically facing up against these cartels, they do need ways to protect themselves. You also have the issue of stray bullets, whether fired intentionally or not, in some of the more dangerous areas. And so an armored vehicle would be beneficial for them. And I believe those are the excuses they're using to also allow for this. But alongside this also, troops and others now working on border security, they're getting another big tool, and that is support from spy satellites. Newsmax said, the Trump administration has directed 2 intelligence agencies to train their satellite surveillance capabilities on the U.S.-Mexico border region as part of a sweeping crackdown on illegal immigration and drug cartels. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, NGA, and the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, which are part of the Department of Defense, oversee spy satellites and analyze imagery for the Pentagon and other intelligence organizations. It notes that while the government has deployed artificial intelligence and drone surveillance at the border for years, a long time, including sensors and underground things and such, the latest initiative seeks to expand the use of military capabilities generally built for conflict overseas, the eyes in the skies. And it says the government could use AI to identify objects or persons of interest by sifting through satellite images and other data feeds, much like the Defense Department can do on the battlefield, said 2 sources familiar with the initiative. So if you have a group of, let's say, cartel members trafficking drugs and they have big rucksacks on their backs, they have supply points, they have a whole logistics system set up, and they're wearing camouflage, they're hiding from Border Patrol. You get like something with, thermal imagery. It's very hard for them to see. It's very hard for them to not be seen. And so this will very likely open a lot of doors to arrest, detect, and just monitor cartel activity and human trafficking activity. Now, on another topic, the United States has cut funding to Australian universities for research grants. It turns out, like with many other things, American taxpayers were apparently heavily financing research in Australian universities to the tune of about $600 million in Australian dollars. And the money for that has now been cut, as with many other things like this. Sky News said this: Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has faced calls to respond after the Trump administration cut funding to 7 Australian universities. It says the administration's move came after U.S. agencies asked Australian researchers to justify why they should continue receiving American research grants. The surveys they received asked several questions, including whether the researchers had received funding from China, a big question, which in Australia there's a ton of Chinese money, a major focus of influence for the Chinese Communist Party. And also they were asked if their university had recognized only 2 sexes, male and female, because under Trump's executive orders now, that is a government requirement. And if money is going to organizations that do not recognize that or do not follow that, government money can't be used for them. It says the institutions which had their funding cut are the Australian National University, Monash University, University of Technology Sydney, University of NSW North Southwest, Charles Darwin University, Macquarie University, and UNSW. The cut of funding could leave a $600 million hole in the efforts of Australian researchers, with the U.S. the largest research partner of Australia. Now, Elon Musk weighed in on this, as he often does, with money being found spent on things that American taxpayers may not have known about, and he wrote on X, quote, "No wonder our national debt is so high. We're sending money to everyone on Earth," he said. Well, everyone, that's all for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and as always, please take care of yourselves, stay informed, and stay free.